I'm sitting here and I'm carrying on a full-on conversation. Well, dude, sticks are breaking and it's walking around.
Oh, look, right there. Stop. Back up.
From creatures lurking around camps in Delaware to others creeping near unsuspecting campers, here are times when massive creatures were caught stalking campsites. Blackbird Forest. Back in 2023, a video started making rounds on the internet. It was recorded by a camper late at night who kept hearing strange sounds coming from outside his camp. When he went out to check, this is what he recorded. For a brief moment, the creature's eyes can be seen before it ducks down behind the wood box. Now, for many viewers, it was just a raccoon, but for others, it was something else entirely. As the caption described it, there's a spooky state forest here in Delaware called Blackbird. There has been local legends for years that told of mysterious creatures or ghosts that people have seen while camping or driving through. A similar incident took place a year before this video was recorded. According to a Reddit post, the encounter happened in Sussex County, Delaware, near the same area. The person said they were driving early in the morning and noticed something moving in a large open field near grain silos. They described it as about the size of a large dog, completely black, with no visible ears or tail, and no clear facial features. Its back legs were longer than its front legs, and the way it moved felt wrong, fast but uneven. They only saw it for around 20 seconds, but said the experience left them shaken and unsettled. This time again, people pointed in only one direction, the Blackbird, and that name wasn't random. In Delaware folklore, Blackbird State Forest is often linked to what locals call the Bigfoot of Blackbird. For years, people have reported seeing a tall, dark figure moving through the forest, usually late at night or early in the morning. Some claim it leaves behind large footprints, while others say they've heard deep, guttural sounds echoing through the woods, sounds that don't match any known animal in the area. Just like the video and the Reddit sighting, these reports all share the same pattern: brief encounters, strange movement, and something that disappears before it can be clearly identified. Whether it's misidentified wildlife or something else entirely, Blackbird Forest has built a reputation, and sightings like these are exactly why. Homeless Guy, Chalachi Prairie, Washington. Back in May 2025, a solo camper had one of the most terrifying nights of his life while camping in the wilderness. He was asleep in his tent when he was woken around 3:15 a.m. by strange sounds coming from outside.
I'm sitting here and I'm carrying on a full-on conversation. Well, dude, sticks are breaking and it's walking around outside my tent right over here, right there. And so I'm honestly, heart's pounding. I got my eyes closed because I've learned don't watch the walls of the tent, man.
For hours, he listened as something moved around his tent, seemingly unfazed by the gunshot he fired to scare it away. Eventually, the sounds drifted off into the distance, but the experience left him shaken and confused. Days later, on the same channel, the camper uploaded another video, this time describing a disturbing pattern he had noticed over several weeks. Almost every night, about 45 minutes after going to bed, once the campfire started dying down, he would hear a single, heavy knock coming from the woods near his campsite.
And it happens like this every single time. Right over here, I hear like a full-on fucking boom. That was a good one. That was a similar sound.
He tried recreating the sound himself by splitting wood and striking logs, but nothing matched what he was hearing. To him, it didn't sound like branches breaking or animals moving. It sounded deliberate, almost like a call and response. The camper ruled out birds, people, and normal forest noises. He never claimed to see anything, and he stopped short of drawing any clear conclusions. But after weeks of unexplained knocking, and a night where something ignored both yelling and a gunshot, he admitted one thing. Whatever was out there didn't feel like just another animal. Now, here's where it gets even stranger. The same state he was camping in, Washington, recently had a post shared on Facebook in a group called Hunting Washington State. Someone found what appears to be a Bigfoot hand being chewed on by a cougar near St. Helens. But there's more to Washington's Bigfoot stories than just this encounter. A former state trooper from Washington recently told Cryptozoology News that he has been in contact with Bigfoot creatures since 2009, feeding them regularly in a remote area of the North Cascades. He explained that sometimes the encounters last only a few minutes, other times they stay for hours. He leaves them food, from apples and carrots to beef jerky and candy bars, and claims they eat it all without showing aggression. The former trooper believes these beings may be a primitive human species, highly intelligent, and capable of interacting selectively with humans. Washington isn't the only place with reports like this. Across the US, people have claimed to feed, observe, or encounter large humanoid creatures, from Missouri to North Carolina and Texas. Some sightings even include descriptions of families, babies, and creatures attracted to food, like candy or potatoes. These stories, combined with the campers' mysterious knocks and unexplained night activity, suggest that Washington's forests may be home to something much larger and more elusive than ordinary wildlife. Stalker, Utah, West Valley. Back in 2016, a Reddit post was made on the subreddit r/Bigfoot. It featured a photo that looked like a normal campsite in the wilderness at first, but when you looked closer, two glowing eyes could be seen in the darkness. While many thought it could be an owl or maybe a deer, the distance between the eyes and the way they reflected light suggested otherwise. It was clear that whatever it wasn't an animal, and that it did not want the camper there. The picture was taken in Utah, and after this, similar encounters just kept coming. About 5 years after the photo was posted, another video appeared on Reddit. This is what it showed. According to the witnesses, the figure they recorded was far larger than an average man. In a side-by-side comparison with a 6-foot, 220-pound adult male, the figure appeared noticeably taller, broader, and heavier, with unusually long arms that hung lower than normal human proportions. At first, they joked that it was just a person, but that changed once it turned its head and looked directly at them without breaking stride. Through binoculars, one witness briefly saw what looked like human-like features around the eyes, while the rest of the body appeared completely dark. And that wasn't the end of it, because the very next year, another encounter occurred. A group of friends were driving late at night when they noticed something strange in the woods. They turned their car around to get a better look. This is what they recorded.
Oh, look, right there. Stop. Back up.
A huge gray figure stood just behind the trees, but when they backed up, the figure was gone, disappearing into the darkness of the forest. Later, they realized that what they had captured on camera could be a possible cryptid, or, more simply, Sasquatch. To test this, they returned to the same spot the next day and conducted a size comparison. It became clear that whatever they saw that night wasn't human at all, as it stood well over 7 feet tall. Now this brings us to the most recent incident in Utah. According to a Reddit post, a man who had recently moved to Utah said something strange started happening during his early morning bike rides to work around 3:30 a.m. Whenever there were no cars around, all wildlife sounds would suddenly stop, and he'd get the strong feeling that something was watching him. One morning, he heard what sounded like a horse, galloping, but with heavy, fleshy impacts instead of hooves. Then he saw a dark silhouette near a tree, followed by two bright silver-yellow eyes, about 6 to 7 feet off the ground. He took off immediately, and what makes this even more unsettling is that stories like this aren't rare in Utah. Despite the age of internet hoaxes and deep fakes, Bigfoot still has a serious following, especially in the Beehive State. Dozens of sightings have been reported over the years, many of them backed by photos or videos. Groups like the Rocky Mountain Sasquatch Organization regularly share alleged footage, including clips that appear to show a large figure moving through the Wasatch Mountains, along with footprints that line up with classic Sasquatch reports. Long strides, straight-line movement, and massive size. There are also older cases, like the viral Provo Canyon video, where campers mistook a figure for a bear until it stood upright, revealing long human-like arms. Experts couldn't agree on whether it was real, but most agreed on one thing: it wasn't a bear. And when all of these encounters are placed on a map, a pattern starts to form. From Bear Lake to St. George, nearly 80 reported sightings stretch across Utah, many involving glowing eyes, massive silhouettes, and the same overwhelming feeling of being watched. So whether these stories point to a real creature or just fear feeding on the unknown, that's up to you. But when people across different years, locations, and situations keep describing the same thing, maybe the real question isn't, is Bigfoot real? It's what keeps getting caught at 3 a.m., silently stalking campsites in the dark. Yowie. When a man went camping in the woods with his dog, Moose, he did not expect how the night would unfold. According to him, it seemed normal at first, until late at night, when the forest fell silent and the dog started behaving strangely. The dog seemed to sense something the man could not, and it wasn't long before the man himself began seeing glowing eyes in the dark, staring straight at them. According to him, it was the creepiest camping night of his life, and all of this happened in Australia, a place famous for the infamous Yowie. Stories and sightings of the Yowie date back centuries. A Reddit post from 2022 showed a picture of a local Aboriginal group. In the very left corner of the image, a figure can be seen, hard to notice, but clearly different from the other people in the photo. Some believed it to be a shadow, a ghost, and for others, it was the Yowie, hiding and stalking humans even back then. Moving forward to another encounter in 2023, a man returning to his car in Queensland, Australia, found something unusual on his back window. The imprint was unusually large, alarming the man. He tried to compare it to his own hand, but the prints were far too large to belong to a human. The man knew what it was, and so did the locals. Once again, when compared to a human hand, the prints were far too large. Around the same time, in the same area, another discovery was made: footprints. This brings us back to a video previously shown on this channel, the one where a Bigfoot-like creature was stalking a deer and was accidentally caught on a trail camera. That footage was also recorded in Australia. Aboriginal tales of the Yowie stretch back for centuries, depicting a large, hairy, man-like creature that wanders the bushlands. At times, it is elusive and shy, disappearing into the shadows. Other times, it can be aggressive and confrontational. Over the years, it has been blamed for missing livestock, unexplained howls, and even the disappearance of people in remote areas. But the Yowie is only the beginning of what lurks in Australia's wilds. The deeper one delves into the country's folklore, the darker the stories become. Beneath the accounts of Yowie sightings lie even older legends, stories whispered by early settlers, tied to forgotten folk magic, arcane rituals, and obscure superstitions brought from Europe. These include odd practices, such as burying shoes in walls, hiding coins under floorboards, or leaving charms to ward off malevolent spirits. One of these spirits is known as the Crying Lady. Some say she is the ghost of a settler woman who lost her child to the wilderness and now wanders the land, weeping in grief. Others insist she is not human at all, but some other being, something that mimics a human form. This leads us to a modern sighting in Western Australia, shared in a Reddit post titled, "Crying Lady in the Pilbara." The video cuts off abruptly, and nothing further is known about the event. The fate of the person recording it remains a mystery. This sighting aligns with an older legend from Western and Northern Australia, the Wailing Woman. Accounts describe her as a pale woman draped in a cloak, crying somewhere in the darkness. Some claim she is the spirit of a mother who died searching for her lost child. Others believe she is not human at all, but merely pretending to be, using the guise to deceive and terrify those who see her. While she is not as widely known as the Yowie or the Bunyip, locals still speak of her in hushed tones. The warnings are clear. The crying woman is not a soul in need of help. She is a trap meant to ensnare the unwary. Appalachian Mountains, WV. When a couple of friends decided to go camping in the Appalachian Mountains, they had no idea what awaited them. As night fell, they began hearing strange voices, and just a few moments later, they saw this. A strange figure, seemingly sitting and hiding behind the bushes, was staring directly at them. Its eyes glowed, and its face was more terrifying than anything they had ever seen before. The friends left immediately and never returned, but others did. Many went camping and hiking in the Appalachian Mountains, only to come back with similar stories. One such encounter was recorded in 2020 at the same location. The growls heard were clearly not from any known animal, not a coyote, not a dog. They sounded different and fierce. Skeptics doubted at first, but all doubt faded when the following year, another image was captured. A huge, hair-covered figure was seen roaming the woods. The very next year, massive footprints were found by some men in the same area. That's when people began connecting these encounters to a much older Appalachian legend. For decades, locals in West Virginia and the surrounding Appalachian region have spoken about a creature known as the sheep squatch, sometimes called the white thing. According to folklore, it is a massive cryptid, often described as being the size of a bear, covered in thick white or wool-like fur, and occasionally bearing goat-like horns. What makes the legend particularly unsettling is how closely it aligns with modern encounters. Witnesses frequently report hearing strange growls or distorted vocalizations late at night, followed by an overwhelming feeling of being watched. Several accounts mention the creature crouching or hiding near tree lines or bushes before revealing itself through glowing eyes. Historical reports from Boone County, West Virginia, especially during the 1990s, describe aggressive behavior that mirrors what campers claim today. In multiple cases, people reported the creature charging campsites, chasing them back to their homes, and stopping only at the edge of the forest. Some even found deep scratches on vehicles after close encounters, suggesting immense strength. Decades later, the details have barely changed. Different witnesses, separated by years, continue to describe the same towering white figure, the same movements, and the same overwhelming sense of fear. These sightings are not scattered randomly, but consistently tied to the same Appalachian regions. Because of this, many believe these encounters are not linked to Bigfoot at all. Instead, they may point towards something far more specific to Appalachia, a creature that has existed in local folklore long before cameras and social media. If the sheep squatch legend holds any truth, then whatever was watching those campers in the woods was not a coincidence, and it was not simply passing through.